The movie opens in the 1990s, introducing two siblings, Michelle and Chris. Chris was an exceptionally gifted child, and while still very young, he was taking an exam that could earn him direct admission to college. But when Michelle and Chris walked out after finishing the test, Army officers stopped them. The reason was Chris's shirt, which had a Cosmo robot printed on it, revealing his interest in robots. Unfortunately, this was a dangerous time, since a war between humans and robots was on the verge of breaking out. The story then shifts to a scientist named Ethan, who deeply despised robots. Years earlier, humans had built robots to help them, forcing the machines to carry out all kinds of labor. Whenever a robot broke down, people simply discarded it. After years of mistreatment, the robots finally reached their limit. Wanting respect and basic rights, they formed an alliance led by a robot named Peanut. Humans refused to accept this, and war soon broke out between human forces and the robot alliance. Eventually, the conflict became unavoidable. Humans were banned from using robots or keeping them in their homes, and the entire world fell under the shadow of war. During the fighting, a military officer named Evans reported to his commander that the robots were gaining the upper hand, since unlike humans, they never grew tired. Humans were on the brink of losing when the scientist Ethan developed a new invention that could turn the tide. Ethan created Neurocaster robots that could be controlled directly through a person's brain, a technology he called Neuroc. Humans began entering battle wearing special neuro helmets, allowing them to control these machines remotely. The Neurocasters looked almost identical to ordinary robots, but had one major advantage: they could fight without ever tiring. Within just a few weeks of using Ethan's invention, humanity managed to defeat the robots and win the war. Major Mark received an award for eliminating the largest number of robots during the conflict. After the fighting ended, humans reached an agreement with the surviving robots. Rather than destroying them completely, the robots would be confined inside a special facility. Years passed, and Ethan continued refining his Neuroc invention. Eventually, he found a way to split a person's brain into two separate sections and connect both parts to Neurocaster robots at the same time. This let one person operate two Neurocasters simultaneously with a single brain, making it possible for someone to have two machines carrying out separate tasks at once, or to connect one side of their brain to a robot while using the other side to live and enjoy life normally. Because of this breakthrough, Neuroc became hugely popular. People around the world began adopting the technology, and even schools started teaching students how to use neuro helmets. The story then jumps to 1994, where we find Michelle again, now living with her foster father. When she arrives at school, all the students are being taught through neuro helmets. Michelle, however, refuses to wear one, preferring to experience her own natural human emotions. Because she won't follow the school's rules, she's sent to the principal's office. The principal warns Michelle that if she keeps disobeying, he'll have no choice but to contact her mother. Michelle then reveals that her entire family died in an accident. Saddened by this, the principal suggests she try neurotherapy through a neuro helmet, thinking it might help her feel better. But Michelle wants nothing to do with technology or anything artificial. Michelle then recalls the day her family died. A deer suddenly appeared in front of their car, and in trying to avoid it, the vehicle crashed. Michelle was badly hurt in the accident, and her condition became critical. When she finally woke up in the hospital, she noticed a doctor wearing glasses. The moment she saw him, she was struck with terror and began gasping for breath. As soon as she opened her eyes, she felt as though something was trying to enter her home. Terrified, she crawled under the bed to hide. Whatever had entered the room eventually came closer, and it turned out to be a Cosmo robot. The machine lifted the bed and found Michelle hiding underneath. She threatened to attack it, but instead of fighting back, the robot pointed to its own head, signaling that she should connect a wire. Michelle followed the instruction and attached the wire. The robot suddenly began speaking and revealed something shocking. It told her that it was her brother. Michelle was stunned. Before she could process what had happened, the robot suddenly collapsed. She turned around and saw her foster father standing there. He had attacked the machine. In this world, humans were forbidden from keeping robots, so her foster father immediately ordered her to get the machine out of the house. Michelle argued that the robot had only gotten in because he'd been careless. Her response enraged him, and he attacked her instead. Seeing Michelle being attacked, the Cosmo robot grew angry. It got back up and struck the foster father, sending him crashing into the wall. He was about to call the police, but Michelle knocked him unconscious. She then fled the house together with the Cosmo robot. After traveling a good distance, Michelle stopped and confronted the machine, asking why it had claimed to be her brother and whether Chris's consciousness was really inside its body. The robot confirmed that she was right. Michelle grew emotional and immediately wanted to know where her brother's original body was. The Cosmo robot indicated that the doctor with the glasses knew the truth about Chris's body. Michelle remembered that this same doctor had once told her Chris was dead. Determined to find the truth, she opened a map and the robot pointed to a specific location, showing her that the doctor who knew everything about Chris could be found inside the robot facility. Michelle and the Cosmo robot decided to head there together. During their journey, the Cosmo robot noticed something troubling about the state of human society. People had begun abusing Nuroc helmets, growing dependent on them almost like a drug rather than simply using them as technology. As the misuse spread, humanity's condition kept worsening, and the Cosmo robot felt deeply saddened by what it saw. At the same time, we're reintroduced to Evans, the former military officer who once warned that humans were losing the war against the robots. No longer serving in the military, he had turned to illegally selling weapons. He hands a gun to a Neurocaster robot, but after taking the weapon, the robot refuses to pay him. Instead, it turns the gun on Evans and threatens him. Before it can kill him, another machine suddenly appears and disables it. That second robot belongs to Evans, whom he has been keeping illegally. He and his robot then load the disabled machine into their truck. Michelle and her Cosmo robot take advantage of the situation. Knowing that Evans and his machine are heading to the robot facility, they sneak into the back of the truck. Meanwhile, Michelle's foster father has regained consciousness and reported her to the police for possessing a Cosmo robot. In response, the government hires a specialist named Mark, a robot hunter whose job is to track down and destroy machines. Mark begins tracking Michelle and the Cosmo robot. The story then reveals that the location where Evans stops his truck is actually his own house, which has a direct connection to the robot facility. Once inside, Michelle and the Cosmo robot quietly climb out of the truck, but Evans and his robot hear them. Evans immediately aims a gun at them. Michelle explains that she only wants to enter the facility, which is why she stowed away in his truck, and that she also knows he makes money by bringing items out of the facility and selling them. Evans warns her that going there is extremely dangerous and tells her to forget the idea. While they're still arguing, he suddenly hears something heavy climbing nearby and quickly orders the two robots to hide. Moments later, Mark's Neurocaster robot arrives. Mark demands that Evans reveal where his robots are, telling him he knows Michelle has been helping one and that it must be with her. Evans refuses to tell the truth, lying instead that Michelle is his sister and that there are no robots in the house. Furious, Mark attacks Evans. Seeing their human ally under attack, both robots immediately fight back against Mark's machine. Michelle uses the chaos to her advantage, quickly flipping several switches that cause heavy equipment to fall from above, trapping Mark's Neurocaster robot underneath. Amid the chaos, Michelle, Evans, and both robots manage to escape. The scene then cuts to the real Mark, who removes his neuro helmet, furious about what just happened. Meanwhile, Michelle and the others reach an extremely dangerous area while trying to escape. Evans grows angry, convinced there's no way out, and starts shouting at Michelle, blaming her for their situation. Suddenly, scavenger robots appear, machines that survive by hunting down damaged or broken robots, stripping useful parts from them, and attaching those parts to their own bodies to keep functioning longer. While the group searches for a way forward, Evans's robot, Tom, spots a massive robot standing near a van and takes control of it. The group is about to leave when Michelle asks Evans for help, explaining that she knows a doctor in the area who might know a way out, and promising that helping her will also give him a chance to escape. Evans agrees, and everyone climbs into the van, which the enormous robot then lifts and carries away. As they travel, Michelle asks Evans where he got such a powerful robot. He explains that he found it during the war. At the time, he was fighting against the robots, and in one battle, both of his legs were seriously injured. That was when this particular robot came to his rescue. Evans tells Michelle that the robot saved his life, and thanks to it, he survived and was able to walk again. This robot saved my life, so I've always kept it by my side. After the war ended and robots were outlawed, I kept hiding it from everyone. The story then shifts to the scientist Ethan, spending time with his mother. He notices she has begun suffering from memory problems, and after investigating, discovers something shocking. Her condition is connected to his own Nuroc technology. Furious, Ethan returns to his laboratory and confronts the doctor about why their system is beginning to fail. The doctor reveals that Chris has escaped. They had been using him to operate the Nuroc system. Ethan is shocked asking how Chris could have escaped when his body is still in their possession. The doctor explains that Chris transferred part of his consciousness into a robot before sending it away, which is why the Neuroc system is now malfunctioning. Enraged, Ethan orders the doctor to locate the robot immediately, warning that if they fail, his entire company could collapse. He then contacts Mark, telling him that one of his robots has escaped and offering any reward he wants if he can recover the machine controlling the entire Neuroc system. Mark tells Ethan he's already searching for the robot, as well as for Michelle, who is traveling with it. Ethan gives him another order: capture Michelle and send her to prison while bringing the robot directly to him. Since Michelle and her companions had previously destroyed Mark's old Neurocaster suit, Ethan provides him with a brand new, far more advanced version at no cost. The scene shifts to Michelle and the others standing in an unfamiliar location. Without warning, someone attacks them by hurling a refrigerator in their direction, seriously damaging their huge robot. Before they can recover, numerous robots suddenly appear and capture the entire group, bringing them before Dr. Peanut, the leader of the robots. Michelle is stunned to realize that Peanut is still alive. He asks why they've come, explaining that humans frequently enter their territory intending to kill them. Michelle assures him she means no harm and is only searching for a doctor who lives somewhere inside the facility. Peanut tells her there's a safe house farther ahead where the doctor may be staying, then asks why she's so desperate to find him. Michelle explains she's searching for her brother, Chris. His consciousness is currently inside the Cosmo robot, and she's learned his original body is being kept by Ethan's company. Peanut is troubled by this, unable to understand why Ethan's company would keep the body of a child inside its facility. Michelle admits she doesn't know the reason either. As Michelle and Evans prepare to continue their journey, Peanut decides to help, sending several soldier robots along for protection. The group climbs into a strange peanut-shaped vehicle and continues toward their destination. Meanwhile, Mark has also arrived at the facility, and from a distance he spots Michelle and the others leaving. When Michelle's group finally reaches their destination, they're suddenly surrounded by a large number of powerful robots. Before the machines can attack, a song begins playing, causing a hidden door to open. Everyone quickly slips through the secret entrance and arrives at the home of Dr. Kian, the doctor Michelle has traveled so far to find. Before Kian can explain anything, Michelle immediately confronts him, demanding to know where her brother is. She reminds him that he once told her Chris was dead. Yet Chris is clearly alive, and she wants to know why he lied. Dr. Kian finally reveals the truth. Chris is currently inside Ethan's laboratory. When Michelle asks why Ethan is keeping him there, Kian begins explaining what happened 4 years earlier. At that time, humans were losing the war against the robots. It was also around when the accident involving Yo and Chris occurred. When doctors performed an MRI on Chris, they discovered he was an extraordinary genius. His brain possessed unusual abilities that seemed almost impossible to explain. Those abilities eventually became the key to developing Neuroc. Michelle angrily asks Kian why he let her believe Chris was dead. To answer her, Kian uses his robotic screen to show her what really happened. Chris had fallen into a coma, and while doctors kept his body alive, scientists began using his brain to develop the Neuroc system. Kian explains that if they had let Chris die naturally at the time, they never would have been able to create Neuroc. Furious, Michelle tells Kian that Chris should have been allowed to die instead of being used this way. Kian insists Chris wasn't completely gone. He was still alive somewhere inside his own mind. He recalls a moment when Chris tried to hold his hand, which is when he realized Chris still had consciousness. Kian attempted to shut down the Neuroc project after this discovery, but Ethan refused and eventually expelled Kian from the company. Kian then reveals that he was the one who connected Chris's consciousness to the Cosmo robot. The reason Michelle is able to stand there with her brother today. But Michelle remains angry, asking why he would do such a thing. Kian explains he intended to preserve Chris's consciousness inside the robot and let him begin a new life among the machines, building a new family with them. Michelle begins crying, insisting Chris already had a family, her. He was her brother, and she was his family. He didn't need another one. Evans, furious after hearing the truth, attacks Dr. Kian. Meanwhile, Mark has reached the facility. Peanut spots him through the security cameras and immediately becomes alert. Mark forces his way inside, triggering a massive explosion. Using the darkness as cover, Michelle and the others attack Mark, but his new Neurocaster robot is far more powerful than before, and none of their attacks seem able to damage it. Mark has also brought an entire army with him, and his forces begin attacking the robots inside the facility, with the advanced neurocasters quickly destroying many of the older machines. During the battle, Dr. Kian tells Michelle to take Chris's robot and escape. She tries to flee, but Mark notices her, rushes after her, grabs the robot's hand, and flies away with it. Although Mark doesn't directly harm Michelle, the facility has already suffered enormous destruction, and Peanut is seriously injured. Later, Michelle and the others return to the old robot facility and discover that Mark's neurocaster forces have nearly wiped out the robots there, leaving only a few severely damaged survivors. The scene cuts back to Mark delivering the Cosmo robot to Ethan. The moment Ethan sees the machine, he finally relaxes, telling it that it has caused him a huge amount of trouble and warning it not to escape again. Ethan's doctors take control of the robot and place it onto a large machine. Ethan then performs a procedure that removes Chris's consciousness from the robotic body and transfers it back into his original human body. Mark watches in disbelief, deeply disturbed by the realization that Ethan has been using a child for his experiments. Ethan, however, sees nothing wrong with it, proudly telling Mark that Chris's extraordinary brain is the reason he was able to create Newrock and save humanity. Elsewhere, Michelle is devastated by everything that's happened. Evans approaches and tries to encourage her, promising he'll stand by her side and help rescue Chris while exposing Ethan's crimes to the world. Their immediate goal is to escape the facility. They find one of Peanut's older robots, which knows the way out and holds important information about Newrock. It reveals something extremely important. The entire Newrock network is powered by Chris's brain. If Chris wakes up and regains consciousness, the entire Newrock system will automatically shut down. Michelle suddenly sees a new possibility, realizing that waking Chris could bring down the entire Newrock system. The robot agrees to join their mission. Peanut, however, remains silent, reminding everyone that the robots never wanted this war in the first place. They only ever wanted respect and peace, and they still want the same things now. Michelle tells him they can achieve that together, and that they may have to fight one final battle to get there. Peanut and the other robots eventually agree to join Michelle's plan, bringing the entire group together for the mission. Using an advanced spherical machine, they travel toward the city where Ethan's laboratory is located, bringing along an enormous combat robot. As they approach the laboratory, the giant machine begins lifting cars like toys and launches a powerful assault on the facility. Inside, Ethan watches everything unfold and orders Mark to take his forces outside and eliminate everyone. Outside, Evans is controlling the enormous combat robot, but suddenly Ethan's highly advanced neurocaster machines appear and begin attacking it. The giant robot quickly takes severe damage, and just before it explodes, Evans manages to jump out and land safely. Elsewhere, Peanut enters the battlefield controlling another massive robot, with the remaining Cosmo robots joining the fight against Ethan's neurocasters behind him. As the battle outside intensifies, Michelle secretly makes her way into Ethan's laboratory. With help from the robot accompanying her, she frightens the scientists inside and forces them to leave the room. Once the lab is clear, she puts on a special neuro helmet directly connected to her brother Chris. Outside, Mark, now inside his enormous neurocaster suit, prepares to wipe out the entire battlefield, launching bombs that cause huge explosions all around. During the chaos, he comes across Peanut, who has just destroyed one of the neurocaster machines and is standing alone. Mark points his weapon at him and asks why he's willing to keep fighting this war. Peanut simply answers that nothing is more valuable than freedom. Mark asks whether freedom is worth even dying for, and Peanut tells him that if sacrificing himself can give the rest of his companions their freedom, he's willing to accept death. Mark is deeply moved by this answer, telling Peanut he has shown more humanity than many actual humans. He explains that he has just encountered a human with even less compassion than a robot, referring to Ethan, who was willing to exploit a child purely to make his technology succeed. At that moment, Mark makes a major decision. He will no longer fight for Ethan. Instead, he chooses to stand with Michelle, Peanut, and the robots. The scene returns to Michelle. Through the neurocaster helmet, she establishes a connection with Chris, and inside this strange digital world, the siblings find themselves back in their old home. Michelle tells Chris they need to get up and leave immediately, but he refuses. He explains that he has experienced the world from inside the Newrock system and has seen the terrible consequences of Ethan's actions, Ethan has used his brain to damage the world. Chris also tells Michelle that escaping is impossible because, in reality, he is already dead. Ethan's people have only kept his brain functioning artificially. Michelle later appears in an interview and reveals the truth about Ethan's entire operation, explaining that the Neurox system had been powered by the brain of a child, Chris. After the truth becomes public, Ethan is arrested and sent to prison. At the end of the story, Michelle gives a speech to people around the world. She explains that she knows everyone is confused about what's happening now that Neurox has been shut down worldwide. The technology had helped Ethan defeat the robots during the war, but it also caused humans to become dependent on machines. People grew so addicted to Neurox that they forgot humans were capable of doing many of those things themselves. Michelle reminds everyone that humanity should depend on other humans rather than relying entirely on technology. The audience responds positively to Michelle's speech, and Evans, moved as well, embraces her. Then, during the post-credit scene, we see a group of destroyed robots lying among the ruins, the Cosmo robot among them. Suddenly, it gets back up. A message appears revealing that Chris's consciousness may still be alive inside the machine. And with that mysterious reveal, finally the story ends with the narrator thanking the viewers and asking them to like and subscribe to the channel to support his 3 days edit.